Okay, so the findings. And here, and to all the colleagues here from the organisations, I'm not saying who's, what, where, or anything. Okay, this is very, very neutral. But these findings are quite useful because what they do is they indicate trend. They indicate where people need to rethink when they start looking at their strategic plan. So we found that the logic model, or the theory of change, was not clearly defined. And in many cases we found project scope creep. In other words, what they said they were going to do, and where they were now, was fine. And we can actually see what had happened. They reported back into Chickaluru and said, look, this is not working, this is fine, so can we do this? And a year later, this is where we'd like to change it a bit. All with approval, in most cases. Some cases, it just was osmosis, I think, that it happened. But it is so, some of the organisations had taken time 5 years ago to really, really work through the theory of change and not just do a broader. I mean, I love this theory of change, which say, well, this is not any of the people here. By the end of this programme, the learners will have gained 15% improvement in their matric marks and also in their pre-matric tests. Full stop. Okay. It didn't say how, when, how. It can't be that simplistic. So I think you all agree with me, all experts in this field, that having the logic model is very important. But I know from work 5, 6 years ago, logic models were the flavour of the month. I think it was sort of statement of objectives. We will train 10 people, we will train 500, 10 teachers, 500 learners. We will actually put textbooks into the classrooms. There were objectives. But a theory of change is very different. That was one thing we found. We found the internal monitoring pretty weak in a lot of cases. One of the problems with NGOs and with organisations is that they don't have the range of people internally to do this, and there's a huge staff turnover. So, not huge, you know what I mean? There's normal staff turnover in these organisations. People stay for 3 years, move on. But they take with them sort of institutional history, and that institutional history is what informs their practice. So internal monitoring and self-reflection, we thought, was not great. There was a lot of assumed competency about trainers and facilitators. People were very keen to test the kids and to test the teachers they were teaching. But the people that they got in to do the work, we just asked the questions, did you put these people through any test? Did you check their qualifications? No. They're good. How do you know they're good? What is your standard of quality for teaching and for learners? What are the standards? So questions of quality came out on that. There was a lack of human and physical resources in a lot of these organisations, and some worked their backside off, I have to tell you, just amazing amounts of hours and support that needs to happen. And there was not much analysis on the baseline. There were baselines, but not in depth. And I think that ties to the theory of change, because if the logic model is there, then your baseline will actually come out a lot better. And also we found that school external training projects cannot influence subject choice at school. This we would like to investigate a bit further. But you know the grade 9 is the key year when they choose between maths literacy and, in fact, maths. It's peer influence, it appears, just on the few that we spoke to, that has the biggest influence on whether they choose maths or not. And sometimes the teacher. If it's a dreadful teacher in grade 10, they won't go. They're still quite young in grade 9. They make decisions based on whether I've got an up-to-date smartphone or not. It's not actually in relation to what they need for university. Heck, I wish we could get into all the schools and just take maths. You can always change at the end of grade 10, but take maths. Get there. And volunteer teaching is not sustainable. A lot of the programs have volunteers, which is fabulous. But if you have a volunteer person who then, let's say on a Saturday, has a demand with the family, family wins. I'm afraid in quite a lot of cases. Continue. System cannot accurately identify learners who would benefit from additional support in the marks in schools are unreliable. This is something I find quite interesting, and this has happened in my own work. If you actually go and say, let me get off that pen doing. If you actually want to say to a school, can I have your best learners? The best learners in maths usually have between 40 and 55%. None of them are above 60. I mean, you know, so the marks themselves, we're not actually getting the kids with potential, because the marks in the school are not any indication of necessarily, unless it's a very special type of school, whether a good school, of what that child can do. So for instance, I worked in Tembisa, and in 3 high schools, I asked for the best kids, and they were all so different. And when we tested them, the average test mark was 30. So that's a bit frightening, I think. We think that this next point is quite interesting. Lots of educationists are mature. I speak as one of them. We've been around the block a lot of time, and we're the sort you find in these NGOs out there, and the people who are still at it. And the team at JET had a good laugh, because when we sat down and looked at the average age of people in some of these organisations, they were 45 plus. So there's a whole group that's on its way out soon. And
speak for yourself. I've got 45, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yes! I'm there as well. You know what I'm talking about? It was absolutely fascinating. I just find that really quite interesting. Hi Phil, do you remember me from years ago? That's Philip. Yes. Yes, we worked years ago together. So, I mean, this is what I'm saying. There's things, you know, you know each other from lots of paths anyway. We thought the donor synergy was very important. And when we were evaluating, one of the things that came up was donors demand different things from us at different times. So, yeah. One says, I really like you doing teacher development and don't want you to do anything with learners. And the other one says, well, can you include learners so you can improve the whole model? So some donor synergy is required to be challenged. We also saw what I call, one or two of them, beginning to come out, a bit of program fatigue. That's when you've been working forever in the program and you get results, but you know, you eventually say, okay, I think I'm going to get another job. So there is a sort of there is a risk of project fatigue in many things.